Zulu monarch King Zulu is conducting a follow-up visit to families affected by the April floods. He wants to assess how far the affected communities have come in rebuilding their lives and how the royal household can assist. Senior reporter Pamandla Goke is in Pinetown and joins us now. Good morning, Pamandla. Can you take us through today's plans? Will the king strictly be visiting those households he visited before, or will he also go to some of the others that he didn't manage to see?
Well, what will happen is that those who have been affected by the recent floods in eThekwini will gather at a sports ground. That's where the king will come and see them. He will address them. Remember, he came here to visit them earlier on, just after the floods, and that is what prompted him to postpone his eagerly awaited coronation, which was set to take place on the 28th of May. I'm going to ask my colleague Bongamkize to show you. There is a hall there. That's where many people are accommodated. That's the Nazareth Community Hall. That's where many people are accommodated. Those are the victims of floods, and most of them have already started gathering here at this sports complex or sports field. That's where the king will address them. We expect that he should be arriving just after 11 to come and address most of these flood victims. Remember, some of them have been complaining that they have not received help from government. The king visited this area accompanied by the businessman, and that is Patrice Motsepe, who made a donation of 30 million from the Motsepe Foundation just after the floods. But the King Zulu Foundation is the one that is spearheading today's visit. Basically, we are told that the king will come here, listen to what flood victims need, and see how he can contribute in helping them, because most of the flood victims have been complaining that the government help is not arriving at a pace that they would have wanted to see, and most of them say they have been unable to receive help. But right now we are joined by Mr. Terry Mdletshe, who is the chairperson of King Zulu Foundation. Ngomani, thank you very much for your time, Baba. Talk to us about why King Zulu Foundation decided to come here and listen to flood victims, but most importantly, how are you going to help them? They need urgent help.
As a King Zulu Foundation, we felt that the people that are here living in this community hall, they need urgent help. So His Majesty, then in collaboration with the stakeholders, the private sector, and the business communities, we gathered the resources to help the community ukuze bekwazi ukusizakala bethole insizakalo ngoba njobe behleli la emaholo bapheka khona la balala khona la ayikho enye into abaphila ngayo. So ubayedeke wasethi hayi abantu bami ngobe ngenza ngazobona ukuthi bahlukumezeke kangakanani, ngabona futhi nokuthi baswele ngempela. Wasezama ukuthi ehlanganise ama resources esebenzisana ne private sector, then ke sahambe sinokha eminyangweni ehlukahlukene saze uDiageo ke South Africa wafaka isandla ke njengoba sizalana ingonyamiza la izobabheka futhi njengoba ifikile eqaleni izobheka isimo ukuthi sesinjani ke kuzoba khona ke hand over kwama food parcel kwi community kuze bekwazi phela bephile emaholo labahleli khona ke kodwa ke I foundation ke izobe sithulwa kuwona ke umphakathi bayazi ukuthi ke iyona ke umgudu ofanele osomabhizinisi abakwazi ukuthi befaka isandla kuwona ingonyama mayisiza abantu bayo.
Ngomane, this is the start here in eThekwini. Many people in other parts of the province were also affected. Will the King Zulu Foundation be visiting other communities across KwaZulu-Natal, even though eThekwini was the hardest hit?
Yebo, kunjalo. I-foundation is intending to work namakhosi nje wonke kwaZulu phela inkinga KZN nasendaweni zasemakhosi ayifani. Abanye banenkinga zamanzi endaweni zasemakhaya. So njoba i-foundation ikhona nje izokwazi ukuthi inokhe ema-ofisini ama-private sector ne-business community befande ama-program engonyama ukwekha ama-borehole, ukuthuthukisa ama-preschool endaweni zasemakhaya. I-foundation na even i-scholarship, i-King Mrs Zulu scholarship. Kumanje nje si-issuishe ama-bursaries engane eziwu-5 in partnership with Star College ngonyaka ozayo bazobe nje beqala esikoleni.
Okay, Ngomane, thank you very much for your time, Baba. That is Terry Mdleche, who is the chairperson of King Mrs Zulu Foundation. I want to bring in Mr. Sibani Mngadi from DHO SA. Baba, let's talk about this partnership between the King Mrs Zulu Foundation and the private sector. What is your role? How are you helping these stranded community members who are flood victims?
Oh, thank you for the opportunity. Just to give context, DHO, we produce our products, alcoholic products, Smirnoff 1818 here at Isipingo, and therefore we are highly affected by the floods ourselves. We import most of our whiskies through the Port of Durban, so we are fully invested here. We helped our employees initially, and we also wanted to reach out to the community as well, because we do feel that other than just our employees, we need to help communities as well. Our interaction then with the King Foundation, we discovered that there is this community that is highly affected here, and we decided then that should be our approach to show that indeed, as a business based in KwaZulu-Natal, in Durban Metro in particular, we make contribution to bring relief to people in need.
Let's talk about that. As you know, the private sector, particularly operating in Durban and in KwaZulu-Natal, you mentioned the issue of the floods and that you operate here, but I can't help to think that you should have been affected by the July unrest and now the recent floods. As the business, how difficult has it been for you to revive your production and operations following these two major events in KwaZulu-Natal?
Yes, as the alcohol industry, we were affected highly by the riots. You remember that much of the alcohol premises were highly targeted. At the time, even our own warehouse in Clarewood was attacked. But of course, we had to work around insurance and other things. But we are a struggling industry. We are trying to recover from the lockdown in terms of the 4 bans that we had. But we are trying our best to keep our commitment to community upliftment. So investment in communities, including promotion of responsible use of alcohol. Those we have decided that despite the economic difficulties, the economy that is slowing down, we're going to continue to make those investments.
Especially your industry is under a little bit of pressure following that Enyobeni tragedy in the Eastern Cape. What is your comment on what has been proposed regarding, responsible drinking and also your alcohol industry playing a leading role in ensuring that underage drinking is discouraged and there is enforcement in ensuring that those who trade with liquor trade responsibly?
Yeah, well, as DHO, underage drinking is one of our priority areas in terms of promoting responsible use of alcohol together with drinking and driving and dealing with binge drinking. On underage drinking, actually, we have piloted a project in Gauteng where we are able to educate learners at school, and we will intend expanding that this year. We will be announcing here that we will be making an additional investment of 6 million to try and reach out to schools in KwaZulu-Natal and Eastern Cape.
Let's talk about flood victims. Apart from partnering with King Mrs Zulu Foundation, what else will you be doing across KwaZulu-Natal to assist those who are victims of the floods, even though the bulk of them is in eThekwini, but will you be going across the province to assist?
Yeah, at this stage we have decided to invest particularly in the Durban Metro in particular, but of course as a business we are happy to look at whatever proposal that may come through and make sure that at least we bring some support where it's possible.
Thank you very much for your time, Baba. That is Sibani Mngadi, who is from DHO SA. Those are some of the private sector partners that have partnered with the King Mrs Zulu Foundation in helping flood victims from eThekwini, as the King will be arriving here to administer more support for those who were affected by the recent floods in eThekwini.
All right, Spamandla, we'll leave it there for now. That's senior reporter Spamandla Goke in KZN. Now,